Somehow,
Ready?
maybe this chair's squeaking too. Yes.
No, it sounds like a cascade of a wave. It's like a.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Is it gone?
I hadn't heard it in a minute, so
Okay, good.
um. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Marvel fans! Jean Grey has returned.
Jean. Dang it. Do it
Dude.
again.
All right.
You said Jean, and I was thinking D. Go.
3. Shh. 3, 2, 1. Hey there, Marvel fans! Jean Grey has returned.
DJ is dumb.
How long can this Jessica Jones monologue go?
All this and more on this week's episode of the 6 Months Behind podcast.
Three, 2, 1.
What is up? This is the 6 Month Behind podcast for the week of 8/6/18. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this week we are Brooks Koepka and Tiger Woods, because today Tiger Woods came in second in a major. And dude, I know you hate golf, but he made some shots, man. He made some shots. And Tiger Woods is officially back.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. He's officially back on his game, which is good. I like that because it makes all of my racist relatives really mad.
Yes, it does. I got some friends that does that too also.
Yeah.
Dude, he made a couple of shots today because I didn't get to watch it. And while I was doing things every now and then, I just checked the highlights on my phone. He made some shots, man. Made some putts too.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good for the world of golf and Tiger Woods, because
it is, man.
I was a little worried, and again, I hate golf, but I was a little worried that, at what, 43, the guy's like washed up, while Phil Mickelson's gonna live forever and play golf forever.
Oh, he and Phil are having a match the Thanksgiving weekend, don't you?
Are they?
Yeah, I think ESPN's putting up $10 million, 18 holes, everything's mic'd, winner gets it.
Dude. All right, then.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money just to hit a little ball with a club into a small hole.
$10 million winner takes all, man. And ESPN will make a fortune doing it.
Yeah, probably so.
I think it's ESPN doing it. I'm pretty sure it's ESPN hosting it. It may be another network, but it's on for Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So how you doing, man?
I'm all right. Can't complain.
Yeah, there you go. If you did, I would have sympathy for you.
Okay. Well, if you complained, I would not have sympathy for you.
I've learned that.
Yeah. It's not my strong suit.
Dude. Oh, I'm not sure any emotion besides anger is your strong suit.
That's a strong assessment. Yeah.
It's strong, but is it correct?
Maybe.
Fantastic Four came out this week. It was really good.
Yeah, I read it. Did you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Dude, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Did you? You got the digital copy, right?
Yeah.
Did it have the 4-page tribute to Steve Ditko?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was really good, man.
In fact, for a second, I wasn't sure what I was reading. I was like, "What's this?" And then I realized it was the Steve Ditko thing.
Yeah, it was a good tribute. It was a nice thing for Marvel to do.
Yeah, it was nice of them to do a little tribute to Steve, and they ought to have.
Yeah, that's the only book I picked up this week, so I don't know if it was in every book or if it was just in that Fantastic Four book.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I typically stick to Unlimited, but occasionally when something comes out like this, I'll buy something off the newsstand.
Yeah, what's the Scotty Young page in it? In the digital? Dude, there's a funny Scotty Young page that was the last one. It was like the last page, and it was the Impossible Man throwing a temper tantrum because the Fantastic Four didn't appear together in the book, and you only got Reed Richards for like one page.
Yeah.
And it's like 9 panels, perfectly spread out over a page. And at the end of it, he becomes different characters through each panel. And then at the end, he's the watcher and he's watching. And there's a note from, God, who's writing that?
Dan Slott.
Yeah, Dan Slott. There's a note from Dan Slott that they will be together next issue.
Yeah, if you went into this first issue thinking they were all going to get together, or somehow over the course of the series they weren't going to get together, I don't know what you were thinking.
Well, what he was saying with that Scotty Young tease is they weren't going to drag out putting them back together for six issues. It'll be next issue. They'll throw them together.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I like that too, because I could like this Wolverine thing that they're doing. I could see them taking 100 years to put the team back together.
Yeah.
Dude, this Wolverine thing's a disaster.
Which they should do it like they're doing Jean Grey, man. I mean, with Jean Grey, you got the 5 Resurrection books. You got the Marvel Girl book this week. You get her new book next week, which is X-Men Red.
Yeah. And I have some issues with it, but at the same time, it was concise and like, hey, we're doing a thing. Okay, we've done the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're bringing it back. Here's how we're doing it. And it's all good, man.
Right. Well, if you want to get in touch with us and tell us what you think of the new Fantastic Four, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com.
And be on the lookout for a new What's Next coming soon.
Coming very soon.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, we're going to discuss spoilers here, and we're going to jump into the books pretty quick because we got a bunch of them. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, pause here, go read all the books or the ones that you want to read, and then come back because we'll still be here.
And there's no telling what we may say about any other comic book subject. So, good luck.
Yeah. Like the fact that I don't like what they're doing with Dr. Doom and Fantastic Four, but,
Yeah.
I thought the attempt to be a good guy was really compelling for Doom, and he's back to his own old doomy ways. And I'm not.
I thought Brian Michael Bendis really did a good job with that, turning him into a hero, and doing something fresh with the character. And they kind of kept it. I mean, he's being the savior of. You were wondering about spoilers, by the way. He's being the savior of Latveria, so he's kind of technically still a hero. But
he's like an anti-hero.
Yeah, I mean it's.
But what I enjoyed was he's just like, well, I'm going to be a good guy now, and his past won't let him do it. He's got a lot of ground to make up before he can even say, yeah, I'm a good guy. Because Ben Grimm's not going to let him off the hook. Everybody else in the world when they look at him, they don't see him as he sees himself now. They see Dr. Doom. And he had to contend with that. And I'm not sure what happens exactly, but to me, it looks like he just went, this is too hard. I'm just going to go back to being a villain.
I don't know how he gets there, but maybe there's a good story in how he gets to that point.
There better be.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Well, here in Avengers 678, we have all the teams finally fighting. The Avengers finally figure out that this is a game and there's a point going on, but the point, pun intended, they're actually trying to score a point with the game. But even the games master said, they're kind of stupid because I thought they would have figured this out by now, but they still haven't figured out everything. And they still haven't revealed who he's fighting, which will be interesting when we get there. And Rogue's team is in Rome. And they watched I think they're fighting I got my note over here. They're fighting the Lethal Legion. And one of those guys reaches up and grabs the pyramid that they're fighting over. There's it's a pyramid. It's basically a cube. Not really. Cube's a cube. Pyramid's a pyramid. Anyway, you got to touch it to get the point. And when dude touches it, he seemingly dies. And you see that they get a point. Then they realize that the other team is fighting and they don't need one of those Avengers touching the cube and pyramid, I should say. I don't know why I keep calling it cube. So Black Lightning races over there. Of course, Johnny Storm. This issue, last issue was narrated by Petro. This issue was narrated by Johnny Storm. He doesn't seem to think that anyone's strategizing quite fast enough, so he just decides he'll go get the pyramid, and of course he touches it and blows up, and that's seemingly the end of Johnny Storm.
Spoiler alert, it's not the end of Johnny Storm.
Of course not, dude. We just talked about him in Fantastic Four, so it's obviously not. But yeah, they're being transported to somewhere on the Games Master ship and like held in status.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see who this Games Master is up against.
I could spoil it. I mean, I can tell you.
No, that's just I'm interested in who this is.
Okay, alrighty, cool.
I have a theory, but
what's the theory?
Is it Thanos?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, there went my theory.
No, sorry.
Oh well. I'm this Avengers book's pretty good. I don't like the whole Voyager thing, but otherwise I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, and the Voyager thing gets explained in a few issues. I'm not sure how many it is, but it eventually gets explained.
Right. That is the only Avengers book we had. Indeed, it's the only Avengers book being published right now.
The Champions is still coming out, but you're just getting it once a month. Everything else was canceled and rolled into this.
Yeah, which that kind of bums me out because I was really enjoying that Mike Del Mundo art in that other Avengers standalone thing.
Yeah.
Moving on to X-Men, we have Phoenix Resurrection number 5. So to catch you up, the X-Men have noticed some weird phenomena going on. They suspect it's the Phoenix. They go to Arizona, where they find a big Phoenix egg. They go inside the Phoenix egg, and it's this whole like fake town that the Phoenix has constructed in order to keep Jean Grey's mind intact while she kind of re-inhabits her or whatever. So she's working at this diner in this illusion, and Logan walks in and orders a cup of coffee and is trying to jog her memory, and does so pretty well when he kills Annie, her boss at the diner. They talk a little bit. She remembers, and that causes all hell to break loose.
Well, the Annie is the manifestation of the Phoenix and not reality.
Right. And so, she kills Annie, and then Annie, of course, gets back up because Annie's not really dead because she's not real at all.
Right.
And then, the whole construct comes apart. The diner explodes, and Jean Grey has returned in the form of the Phoenix. And I really dig this black costume with the red. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's the Dark Phoenix costume. I always like it.
Yeah. Well, I thought the Dark Phoenix costume was the green with the yellow, or is that just the regular Phoenix costume?
That's the regular Phoenix costume. When she becomes Dark Phoenix, it's the black and red. Okay.
So she walks over to the X-Men and is like, "Hey, what's up? Good to see you." Very casual. When the meat of this issue is her and the Phoenix dialoguing, talking back and forth about what her purpose is as part of the Phoenix, what Jean wants, what the Phoenix wants.
And she's just over it.
Yeah, she's just done. She's just like, dude, you and I have been doing this forever. We're over. I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah.
Please go away. I'm not who you think I am. The Phoenix even tries to get her to come back when, she shows him Scott, and that's a heartbreaking little scene.
It is. They catch up, and then he just kind of, his body deteriorates.
Yeah.
As dead bodies do.
Yeah. Which I'm glad it wasn't real because I didn't need Scott Summers to come back. And she basically just tells the Phoenix, "Hey, go on. I'm out of here. Get out of here." And the Phoenix does. And Jean Grey is alive again, and she's with the X-Men again, and she's back. Yeah. Now, this has been a good little series. It was 5 issues to do this whole thing. It didn't take 12. It didn't take a whole event. It didn't take 12 issues of a big event and 100,000 tie-ins. It was the Jean Grey series leading up to this with the younger Jean Grey. They tie her into it. They pick up with this, and it's done. And I enjoyed that.
I did too.
The only thing I have an issue with is all this history with the Phoenix, all this stuff that's gone on over literal decades. And she just kind of goes, I'm done with you now. Goodbye. Shoo bird, shoo.
Well,
that's just supposed to be it.
Who was controlling who? Was the Jean Grey controlling the Phoenix, or was Phoenix controlling Jean Grey?
I've always wondered if it's a little bit of both.
Well, if it's a little bit of both, that's why she was able to reject it.
Maybe.
Which is apparently the case that they made in this case was Jean wanted the power. So in Uncanny 101, that's why the Phoenix resurrected her. Because, she wanted the power. She was capable of handling the power. So she's obviously able to reject power. Now they've since evolved what the Phoenix is into. She's basically a cosmic entity, just like Galactus and all the, the tribunal, the living tribunal. She's basically one of those cosmic entities,
right?
Which they've evolved the character into. So at this point, Jean Grey really doesn't need the Phoenix, and the Phoenix really doesn't need Jean Grey. See what they're doing currently in Avengers with the Phoenix. So not the Avengers we just talked about, the Avengers that's coming out in 6 months.
Okay.
Limited. Yeah.
I was going to say, if they're going to do something really cool with Jean Grey here, I'm all for this. If this was just an attempt to bring Jean Grey back because you wanted to play with Jean Grey and she's not going to do something really cool, I don't know if I support this move.
I'm kind of interested to see where it's going. I just read the first 3 or 4 issues, and it's kind of she's been gone for several years. Yeah. And this isn't the world that she left. It's the world that Scott Summers wrecked and she's trying to fix. And her methods of fixing it aren't working. And she's really powerful. And what's she going to do? That's kind of, where X-Men Red goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get down with that.
Yeah, it's all right, man. I mean, it's not great, but it was okay. I picked up the first 2 or 3 issues. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, and it can, it sometimes takes 2 or 3 issues for something to get the ball rolling on something.
Right. But she puts together a good team, and it's good, man. It's a good little book.
Good.
Next, we have Jean Grey number 11, the aforementioned Jean Grey series, where if you remember 10, which was before all these Phoenix Resurrection books, so it was like 6 weeks ago. Young Jean Grey died. The Phoenix killed her.
Yeah,
and
burned her up.
And she wakes up essentially in hell. And she quickly realizes this isn't quite hell and starts using all the powers and the skills that she's learned in the previous 10 issues to start taking control of where she is. And then she goes back in time. Then she goes to the future. She's just being tossed from reality to reality to reality. Most of them classic X-Men stories, where she's trying to just be kept in place. Finally, she thinks she's dead by this Shire guy whose name I can't remember. And I just read about him in Ed Brubaker's run, so I should be able to, but I can't. She wakes up back in the X-Mansion with everybody just being cool. Professor Xavier's talking to her. Turns out it's not really Professor Xavier, it's the Phoenix. And she essentially did the same thing that old Jean Grey did. She's like, hey, I'm over you, go away. And the Phoenix is like, yeah, but we're together. And even though you're not me, there's a room that all this takes place in. It's the
White Hot Room.
The White Hot Room. That's where all of the Phoenix Resurrection took place in. That's where this is taking place in the White Hot Room. Okay. And she's just kind of stuck there because she doesn't have a body and she doesn't have a soul. So finally the Phoenix says, fine, you want to go back to Earth? Go back to Earth. Burns her up. She wakes up there in somewhere and takes a few days to make her way to Madripoor, where old Jean Grey is waiting for her.
Yeah, she walks into the wherever the young X-Men are staying in Madripoor. Everybody's like, "Oh, hey, glad you're back," and she's just like, "Everybody, leave me alone."
Right. There's somebody waiting. Yeah, there's somebody waiting to see you. No, I don't care.
Don't care. I'm just gonna go lay on my bed, and then Jean Grey pops out and is like, "Hey, we should probably talk."
Yeah, yeah, and this is the last book in this series, so yeah, it's been a good little series, man. I enjoyed it. It was a good run.
Yeah, and I'm glad that young Jean Grey isn't gone forever.
No,
because I really enjoy like young Jean Grey and regular Jean Grey are different.
Yes,
they're very different, and so I'm, I like her as a character.
And that's kind of been her whole character development since they were brought to this timeline. Is they, particularly her and Scott Summers, young Scott Summers, realized what their older counterparts became, and they didn't want to do that. And they've both been struggling to not become what their counterparts became. Scott Summers is trying not to become this megalomaniac who, will do whatever's necessary to achieve his ends. And Jean Grey is trying not to be possessed by the Phoenix. So, yeah, it was a good story, man.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes those characters different from their counterparts, and it makes them interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on from all the Jean Grey talk, we have all new Wolverine number 30. So we've been dealing with this Orphans of X storyline, and Laura Kinney and Honey Badger have snuck into their base and resurrected Logan, Sabretooth, and Daken, although it doesn't really say how, and they're going to confront the Orphans of X. So after interrogating some of these members, they find out that the Henry Sutter is the leader of this group, who was, if you've read her origin story, is the son of the man that engineered and created Laura Kinney, and who she allowed to let go after she destroyed the Weapon X program again. He created the group initially as a support group for people whose parents had been killed by Wolverine or whoever, right. X-Men essentially. And so she changes her strategy here. She puts on the Muramasa armor, and she essentially comes to them and says, "Look, you and I are not all that different. These same people who killed your parents are the ones who took mine away from me and turned me into what I am, and in turn killed your parents. We're the same. So I want to join you." And she's basically waving a white flag here and saying, we're not so different. Let's come to an accord. And it works. They're able to work it out, and yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
They get to have a funeral for Laura's mom. So yeah, in the next issue, Deadpool shows up.
Yay.
Yay.
Old Man Logan number 34. Apparently Mariko has been cured from whatever it was that the Hand used to resurrect her, much like Elektra did. By the way, if I'm the Hand and I keep resurrecting people and then they turn against me and, I lose control of them, maybe I think twice about resurrecting people. That's just me.
Maybe, but what do we know?
Yeah, that's just me. Turns out the Hand and Clan Lashida have been fighting for 150 years or such. Yeah, nearly 200 years. And they're still fighting. Mariko and Old Man Logan are there in the bar in a hotel. They're in Madripoor. They go looking for the eugenics. They're looking for the meds. They don't really care who they got to fight, whether it's the Hand or the thugs who have it. They're just looking for the meds. Turns out this one guy's got it. He's trying to replicate it. He's having trouble replicating it. Then Gorgon and the Hand show up, and everybody starts fighting. The thing here is, and I haven't really noticed this at this point. And let me stop for a moment. Wolverine went toe-to-toe with the Hulk and with the Maestro and didn't have trouble recovering. I mean, just walked away. Now he's fought a few ninja for a couple of issues, and suddenly he's barely alive. Does that make sense to you?
He's old.
Well, okay, but he was old when he fought the Hulk, when he fought the Maestro. That was the last story arc.
I'm aware. I
don't get it, man. Anyway, Anywho, so they fight. Gorgon beats the gang. He recovers the Regenix. Crimson Samurai and Logan fight the ninja and Gorgon, and she kills Gorgon, and then Wolverine drops seemingly dead because of all the wounds he's had, and his healing factor is not working because he's old. I don't really understand, but okay, sure.
He's old.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I've enjoyed this this storyline.
I have enjoyed it. It's just, when they do things like that, it kind of grates me.
Right. It's like when Superman's power levels tend to fluctuate depending on who he's fighting. It's like,
yes,
didn't he just like shoot laser beams through that guy's head in the last issue? Shouldn't he just be able to do that same thing here?
Yes.
Yeah.
He should.
It's an aspect of comic books.
Or just blow on them and freeze them, and
right, yeah.
Yeah. Then take your heat vision when you get them in a jail cell and reanimate them again.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spider-Man this week. Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 15. I think I'm coming around on this comic. I think I am. Especially now that Annie's a little older.
Yeah, they did that 8-year jump.
Mm-hmm. So in the previous issue, it looked like the Lizard was attacking Coney Island, but in fact, he was looking for Spider-Man because he knew Spider-Man would help him. Long story short, some crazy magician dude he has a lair underneath Coney Island where he's kidnapping Inhumans and other genetically mutated people and collecting their DNA samples. It's got like this whole circus motif. It's weird. Spider-Man follows the Lizard down a tunnel. They fight. They free all the people. Dude gets away though. Yeah, and it turns out that the guy's actually handing the DNA samples off to Mr. Sinister. And part of the reason they went and got Spider-Man was because he wanted Spider-Man's DNA sample.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. That book has been all right for a while now. It's okay.
I've enjoyed the last few issues.
Another book that's okay, let's call it mediocre, is Scarlet Spider. I tell you what was entertaining about this book is Black Marvel is back as opposed to Blue Marvel, who's with the Avengers. This is Black Marvel, although Black Marvel's a white guy, Blue Marvel's a black guy, so I don't really understand. But anyway, Black Marvel's back, and turns out he's really a demon. He's been reincarnated. I think Peter David missed a chance to figure out, bring one of the demonic creatures into this, but he didn't, so it's all good. They fight, and it's pretty funny. What's funny is one of Kane's costume's abilities is to make him invisible. So they're fighting, and he realizes that they're fighting a demon, and they're fighting. I can't remember. It's the I want to say it's the Mirage. It's got the fountains outside of it, but that may not be right. Maybe the Bellagio. But anyway, so they're fighting there at the fountains, and Kane comes up behind this minister, this Catholic priest, and says, "Hey, I'm God." Because of course he can't see him because he's invisible. So he's talking to the priest here. He's like, "Hey, I'm God. Here's what you need to do. You need to say the prayers and make that fountain holy water." So he makes it holy water. Then Ben takes him and shoves him into holy water. So you shove the holy water in demon, and he dies. And it's not great. It's entertaining. It's a good little ending. Kane gets a happy ending because he hits the lady that owns the casino up for the money to fund the vet's shelter, and everybody lives happily ever after.
All righty then.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you read the book and not me.
It's okay, man. It wasn't great.
If you insist. Spider-Gwen number 28. This book was really good. Of course, I always say that about Spider-Gwen, but this one in particular was very good. So Spider-Gwen took over the Venom symbiote to become Gwenom in an effort to get leverage over Matt Murdock, who's the kingpin of New York in Earth 65, because he has control over her powers because She lost her powers at some point, and he's got the power ups to give her spider powers back. But with the Venom symbiote, she doesn't need them. But this whole conflict has come to a head. So now she's sitting at this theater, spilling her guts about who she is and why she took over the Gwenom symbiote to the Mary Janes and May and Ben Parker. The other half of this issue is essentially an origin story for this universe's Matt Murdock. And it's pretty similar to our Matt Murdock, except that when he's training with Stick, they go to fight the Hand. The Hand kills Stick and takes Matt Murdock as a captive and train him. And he rises to the top of the Hand. They send him to New York to work beside Wilson Fisk. He kills Wilson Fisk and takes over the business. And at some point, he was just going to end it all because he felt like he had risen as far as he could go. And if he can't go up any further or be any more powerful, then what's the point of it all? And that's when he meets Spider-Gwen. And now you understand his obsession with Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
It's that he wants her power so that he can become even more powerful. And by the way, he's telling this all to this cop that he's got like tied up and captive. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I need to tell somebody this, so I'm telling you. And of course, as soon as he's done, he slits the guy's throat.
Of course.
Yeah. And then after that happens, one of his servants comes in and says, hey, the building's under attack, and apparently Frank Castle's here to kick your butt. So
good old Frank Castle. No matter what university in, Frank Castle's an entertaining character.
Yep.
Next we have the 616 universe with Black Panther, Long Live the King. I'm gonna tell you, the only thing that interests me about this book. Did you ever watch Masters of the Universe?
No,
I didn't either. But the villain in this book looks just like the villain there in Masters of the Universe, not White Gorilla or the White Gorilla Cult, which makes me not even want to read the book. But the dude who animated him looks just like that villain. It's pretty funny.
Skeletor?
Skeletor, thank you. There's a picture of him at the bottom of page 5. There's a picture of him. He looks just. Okay. They look at that and tell me he doesn't look just like Skeletor. So anyway, Black Panther and his old friend Cantu fight the White Gorilla clan. Skeletor, White Gorilla turns on Skeletor. Skeletor turns on White Gorilla. Black Panther and Cantu defeat them, and everybody lives happily ever after. It's okay. I thought this series was going to be. I don't know what I thought this was going to be.
Yeah, it's all right. It's definitely not Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther.
Tell you what was good. Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America is good.
I've been hearing that, and I need to read it.
Dude, that's good, man.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy I would want to write Captain America. So when they announced that he was doing it, I knew what I was going to get, and apparently it's living up to that.
Yeah, man, it's good.
Yeah, the Defenders #9 is also really good. In fact, Brian Michael Bendis writes himself into the issue.
That is funny. What skit is he talking about that's been going on for
the dynamic between Jessica Jones and Misty Knight?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the whole love triangle thing that happened there, and how they don't like each other. But
okay.
Yeah. So Jessica Jones interrogates Frank Castle. Meanwhile, Hammerhead, who's been resurrected from the dead and is just walking around New York City buck naked, is he's trying to get the jump on Diamondback when the Defenders show up and rough up Diamondback's crew. And then a bunch of villains show up on the side of the good guys and help them out. Anyway, at the end of all this, we find out that it's the Hood. The Hood is the one who's empowering. I just said his name.
Shoot.
Yeah, guy. Anyway,
yeah.
This book looks great. Yeah, dude that does the stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good. It's fine.
Anywho, next we have Despicable Deadpool number 293. This is basically one long fight between Rogue and Deadpool. She's determined to take Deadpool to jail to answer for his crimes. She insists if he explains he was manipulated by evil Stevel, that the courts be lenient on him and he'll get a very short sentence if he's sentenced at all. Deadpool's like, yeah, I ain't going. They fight for a bunch of pages. Finally, he fires thermite into her eyes.
Oh, which God.
Didn't blind her, didn't kill her, but it slowed her down a while. It slowed her down a while, long enough for Deadpool to get away. Eventually, she recovers, and turns out that Captain America, the real Steve Rogers, had been on his way to talk to Deadpool also, and Deadpool got away before he could get there. And he and Rogue wound up corresponding for the last couple of pages. It was good, and I look forward to seeing Steve Rogers, not Stevel, but the real Steve Rogers, and Deadpool have a conversation in the future.
Okay. Falcon number 4 it's a thing. I've not enjoyed this Falcon series. Mostly because it's just lackluster at best. But in the most recent issue, Demon Dude has taken Sam Wilson's soul to hell, and Patriot's trying to figure out how to get his soul back to put it back in his body. While he's in hell, he meets the Two-Gun Kid. And the Two-Gun Kid and Sam Wilson's ghost go on a sightseeing trip through hell to go see Mephisto, who's in charge. And he's like, hey, I'm not supposed to be here. Your son put my soul here. I'm not dead. Can I go back home? And Mephisto's like, dude, no. So Dr. Voodoo enlists the help of Damian Hellstrom to bring Sam Wilson's soul back.
Well,
and there's this whole scene of Sam Wilson confronting his past and all of his relatives and trying to figure out who he is. And yeah, it's a real soul searching moment for Sam, quite literally. And eventually he gets his body back. Yeah, it's Mephisto's there, so that's cool, but then the rest of it sucks.
Yeah. Yep.
So
next we have Incredible Hulk number 712. The Amadeus Cho Hulk is still on Scar, still fighting there in the arena. And this issue, he is fighting Thor. And Odin's son, Odin's son's pretty well stomping him. And everybody's telling him that he has to become the World Breaker to beat Thor, Odin's son. And on page 11, it begins a 3-page dialogue between Amadeus Cho and the Hulk. And for the last, I guess for the run of this whole title, they've been using the Hulk. They've got a car, and they've been using the Hulk locked in the trunk as how Amadeus Cho has him confined mentally so that he can't get loose and, terrorize the world and become the Hulk again. And they're literally fighting over the wheel of the car at this point as to who's going to drive it. Finally, and the car is pretty cool too in this issue. Finally, Amadeus Cho, well, you think the Hulk wins out because everybody assumes it's the World Breaker. He beats the Hulk, but it's not. It's Amadeus Cho. He reaches down, yanks the control device off Odin's son, and then the dude running the planet, is going to do something. I don't know what. He's got some kind of hodgepodge missile from the Earth. He's going to do something. It wasn't bad. I mean, obviously, anytime you get to see Odin's son and the Hulk fight, okay, and you've used a plot device to get the two of them together, swapping blows. That's pretty cool. The dynamic between Amadeus Cho and the Hulk in this book, which has been the entire story of this book since its launching, has been entertaining also. So yeah, it's a good book, man.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's pretty good. And it's someone who I don't like reading the Hulk. So, if I can read this and enjoy it, then good.
Yeah.
Invincible Iron Man number 596. The first couple pages deal with Riri Williams and her fight with the people trying to take all of her tech. And then there's Victor Von Doom fighting the living laser in the hood for some reason, which I still haven't figured out why that's even relevant. But the real meat of this issue here is Tony is still in that Iron Man armor and he's still hallucinating. So he hallucinates a conversation with his father, who's not really there, and they talk about why, why he never told him he was adopted and why that was important to him or something. Anyway, his mom and MJ go looking for him. They find the facility, but he's not in the armor anymore. He's gone. He's gone somewhere. Meanwhile, Riri's sitting in her garage, which has now been cleaned out, feeling very sorry for herself when Blade shows up. Yes, Blade. That guy. The vampire guy. Blade.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed this Invincible Iron Man series so far. It's a Brian Michael Bendis thing. I've enjoyed it, but it's starting to jump the shark.
Doesn't any book that has Blade in it jump the shark?
Not necessarily. That Spirits of Vengeance book is pretty good.
Okay.
But my point is that you have these storylines going on and you're trying to do something with them while taking them in wild directions.
I understand.
Like, no, just do the story that you're trying to do and don't twist it around.
Right. Yes. Next, we have Jessica Jones number 16. And I don't know how many words are in the average comic book. Let's say it's 1,000. If there's 1,000 words in the average comic book, and that's probably a little high, there are 3,000 to 4,000 in this comic book. There are 3 to 4 times the normal words. It is just one long dialogue.
It's Brian Michael Bendis. He's wordy.
And it's not, it's good. I mean, it's Kilgrave, the Purple Man, has taken over the body of Carol Danvers. So, of course, he's got the body of Carol Danvers. He's also making other people fight until Jessica Jones agrees to do what he wants. Then Jessica's trying to fly. And I actually agree with Kilgrave, man. When are you going to learn to fly? Just go out in the desert for a couple of days and figure it out. I don't understand. Either you can or you can't. So, anywho, they finally get back to Jessica's blown up office and they begin this long dialogue where Kilgrave, and the whole time Jessica's convinced she's going to die. He basically thinks he's God, but he doesn't know what to do with his power. That's a synopsis here. He doesn't know. He's tried being bad. He's done all this, and finally Jessica Jones is like, you realize all the things you could do. You could stop murder. You could stop rape. You could stop evil in the world with your power at this point, and you just wasted being selfish with it. And at the end, he says, "Okay, fine, help me do good." So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 27. Moon Girl teams up with the Thing and Johnny Storm to become the Fantastic Three. They save a cat from a tree, and Super Skrull shows up.
Okay.
There's also a really funny interaction between Doomhead and Herbie in this, which is pretty funny. But that was probably the highlight of the issue.
That does sound funny. I didn't read it.
If you haven't been reading this, Lunella has the head of a Doombot in her hideout, and it just sits on top of shelves and desks and things, shouting, very Dr. Doom like statements. And it and Herbie have some interactions which are funny.
Yeah. That sounds funny. Next we have Moon Knight 191. I'm sorry, this legacy number is throwing me off, man, because I still think it's like Moon Knight number 7 or something.
Yeah.
Anywho, they're fighting in Claire's house, and they're trying to get the girl safe, and basically Moon Knight, Mark Spector, has to choose who he's going to save, his daughter or his girlfriend, and he winds up saving his girlfriend while taking his pants out on fire and throwing him on top of dude's face, which was pretty funny. Your boy Max Bemis is really doing a good job writing this.
Yeah, he's knocking it out of the park with this.
And he saves the girl. They get away, and they're holding her hostage. And dude, these monologues that he has with all of the different parts of his mind, it's brilliant, man. It's really good writing. Where you see Jake Lockley, and you see Mark Spector, and you see Moon Knight, and you see the Khonshu. Thought that's what I said. Khonshu.
It's the emphasis
on the Khan or the shoe.
It's Khonshu, not Khonshu.
Khonshu. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
The Pat Myers Butcher word of the week. There we go. We could like run a contest. What word did Pat butcher this week?
Yeah.
So
it's like Pee-wee's secret word or whatever it is, but
yeah, there you go. Or you can like guess at the top of the show. What word is going to get screwed up this week? Anywho, so Moon Knight's about to go out. Mark Spector is about to go out, and he's got Frenchie coming to take care of her. The problem is Frenchie shows up, and he's a refugee from The Walking Dead. He's a zombie for some reason. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, great book.
Really good, man. Really good.
Absolutely. Tales of Suspense 101, also really good. So Hawkeye and Bucky have unwillingly teamed up, if you will, because they both believe that either someone is impersonating Natasha Romanoff, who's dead, or that Natasha Romanoff is in fact not dead at all. So in the last issue, they barely got out of Chernaya with their lives intact. So they go off to New York to talk to an agent, a former SHIELD agent that Bucky knows that may have some info. Turns out it's actually Skids from the New Mutants. If you don't remember who Skids is, that's okay. No one else does either. But it was a fun little way to bring her back. So they give her some information, or she gives them some information, and she's immediately blown up.
I was going to say, is she alive or dead at this point?
No, she's dead because she talks with them, gets back in the car, drives off, and somebody blows her car up.
I didn't think they found a body.
No, they found the body. They fished out of the Hudson River.
Okay.
They find somebody in the crowd that looks very much like Natasha. They chase her down. The thing is, she looks like Natasha. She acts like Natasha, even in her spycraft and her physical abilities. And so both of them are just kind of like, Bucky doesn't think she's alive, but at the same time, it's like, well, it certainly seems that way. And Hawkeye just hopes she's alive. So they go to this house of this Hydra dude in Westchester and confront her before she can kill the guy. And unfortunately, it turns out it's Yelena Belova, who was the second Black Widow after Black Widow became a good guy. So yeah, she's not Natasha Romanoff.
Yeah, and what makes this book good is, and it might be great, definitely very good, is the dialogue and inner monologue between Hawkeye and Bucky.
Yeah, because the first issue is told from the perspective of Hawkeye, and you get some of his inner monologue. And this issue is told from Bucky's perspective.
And you get Bucky's monologue, and he really respects Clint, but he just thinks he's a clown who's wasting his talents.
Right.
Right.
That he could be so much more if he just took things a little more seriously.
Right. And there's an interesting scene where Clint says, "Hey, dude, why are you so brooding and dark all the time?" Bucky's like, "I was trained to kill young. I died. I was wrecked and resurrected by Russians who used me to kill people for 20 years, and then I had to break myself free. Any more questions?" Nope, that sums it up.
Yeah, he's like, I was a child soldier. I was blown up. I lost my arm. I was brainwashed into becoming a killing machine for Russia, and everybody that I know is dead. It's like, oh, okay, well, all right. He's like, why aren't you like? And then Bucky's like, why are you the way you are? And Hawkeye's like, mostly for attention.
Yeah, there's some good dialogue between those two, and that's what's making this book entertaining. What isn't entertaining, at least to me, Sean, maybe you're enjoying Captain Marvel.
No, this Captain Marvel book sucks.
It sucks. I maybe there's a reader out there somewhere who thinks this doesn't suck. I don't care, man. They're doing this whole dark mirror thing, where she's in an alternate reality, and Peter Quill goes from a good guy to a bad guy to a good guy to a bad guy. Thanos shows up. They're all fighting over the reality gem. I don't care, man.
Here's how you know this book sucks. This is one of my. I've talked about tropes I don't like in comic books and TV shows. This is one I like. The through the mirror darkly sort of thing, where you go to the alternate universe where everything's topsy-turvy and the good guys are bad and the bad guys are good. I like that. I think that's fun. This does not do it well, and I hate it.
It does not. It is. This is just bad, man. I mean, I actually read this book this afternoon. I put it off to the last minute, and it still sucked.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucked.
Yeah. I hate that because I like Captain Marvel. I like this concept, but it's not done well.
I think they've really done well with everything they've done with her and Alpha Flight and the space station. I think it's really been a good run, but dude, they've lost it with this story arc.
Yeah, and I tell you what I really don't like about it is it has no consequences.
No.
It's just being done for the sake of it, and this will have no bearing on anything happening in the Marvel universe at all.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
I got to figure out if she's the one that winds up with this reality gem and this whole infinity thing we got going.
Well, so maybe that's it. Maybe she brings it back from another universe, but
they get this whole thing going where the gems only work in one universe. So I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing here. I don't care, to be honest.
I don't either, and that's why we're going to talk about Star Wars now.
Yes.
Dr. Aphra number 16. So Dr. Aphra is being leveraged by 000. If you don't know who 000 is, it's the evil C-3PO of Star Wars that was helping Dr. Aphra in some earlier issues, but now I forget exactly what's going on, but he's got leverage on her somehow. Oh yes, the Darth Vader thing. If she doesn't do what he wants, he'll rat her out to Darth Vader. That's right. So he has sent her to this planet to recover some old Clone War era data from a facility, except this planet's like super dangerous. So she puts a crew together, and she's also being pursued by the Empire, but the lady from the Empire that's pursuing her they also have like a little crush on each other. They have to go to this facility, and there's this big monster that they have to fight. It's okay, but the really interesting part is you find out what 000 is actually after in this data is his memories. Because as we find out, 000 isn't just a droid. He was a living being at one point whose consciousness was transferred into a computer and locked away because of his murderous nature. And at some point he ended up in a droid. So what he wants is to recover his memories so that he can remember who he was.
Okay.
That was the part I thought was neat.
Yeah.
And I actually find the stuff between Aphra and the Empire commander, who also, like, her mission is to get Dr. Aphra, but also she's got a soft spot for her, and it makes for a funny dynamic.
Yeah, it is a funny dynamic between the two. What isn't a funny dynamic and isn't funny or entertaining at all is Star Wars DJ the Most Wanted.
I really thought this was going to be some revelation about who this character was. And if you don't remember who DJ was, if you remember The Last Jedi, when Finn and Rose go to Canto Bight, he's the hacker dude that stutters a lot and helps them escape. What's the actor's name? Benicio del Toro.
Yes.
It's his character. and he's getting his own one-shot comic book. And I thought we were going to get like some really interesting info about like who he is and how he's relevant to all this. And as Pat's going to tell you, that's not the case.
We didn't. And see, and we were talking about it before we went on the air, that I thought maybe there's something I'm missing here. Maybe I missed something in the movie. Maybe I missed something in this book. Maybe I've missed something about this character that would make me understand it. No, I didn't miss anything. This just sucks. Okay. His in the movie, he's this. What am I looking for here?
It's like an idiot savant thing.
Yeah, it is, but he's also a character without without morals. He's like Steve Austin in WWE wrestling. Okay, he's not a face, he's not a heel. He just kind of is.
He's out for himself and himself only, and he'll do whatever he has to do to benefit himself.
Right, and in this case, he's scamming a casino. He's out to try and do something. I don't remember or care. And then he created an alternate personality at some point, just to kind of bury Crime Zone when he needed to, except an evil droid, seems like we just heard this, took over that personality in the computer and started sending the police and other people after DJ, and he has to get away and turn the droid loose. And I'm like you, I was wanting more background on this character in this, and we just didn't get it. It went to his moral ambiguity, if you would. It just showed more of his. There's even a line toward the end where, I always tell you the truth except when I'm lying to you, and that sums up his character.
Yeah,
just kind of is.
And the thing is, it's Benicio del Toro, who's a really good actor, and he plays a part in one of the movies. So you think, okay, well, you don't get that actor to just play a bit part, right?
That's what you would think.
I'm starting to think that maybe Benicio del Toro had a friend who just really wanted to be in the movie, and had a friend who was going to be on the movie working on it, and somehow just pulled a string or two and was like, hey, I can get you a little small part in this Star Wars movie. And then Benicio del Toro gets to say he was in Star Wars.
I guess because I think we all thought the same thing, which is when you saw this character and you saw Benicio del Toro was going to do it, you thought we were going to get another Lando Calrissian. You thought we were going to get this lovable rogue, which is really what Han Solo is also. This lovable rogue who kind of bends the rules and kind of cheats people, but he's really a good guy at heart. No, that's not what this guy is. And this comic doesn't make any sense. So anywho.
No, and maybe we'll see him in the next movie, and his role will be expanded. But I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think they needed somebody to play this dude, and Benicio del Toro was on the list.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, that's that.
It was not my favorite book of the week.
Wasn't mine either. I'm gonna have to go with either Spider-Gwen or Phoenix Resurrection.
I'm gonna go with
Phoenix Resurrection.
I'm gonna go with Phoenix Resurrection. Old Man Logan was good. I'm just a sucker for Mike Del Mundo art. But
who?
What's his name?
Mike Del Mundo.
Yeah, I got Benicio del Toro.
Mike Deodato.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I said Mike Del Mundo earlier.
Yeah. Anyway, he did the art. I'm always a sucker for his art, and that was a great story. Even if I did kind of bash it when I was reviewing it, but yeah, it's Phoenix Resurrection number 5, man.
Yeah, it's kind of got to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah. In the dump this week, you've got some X-Men issues from the early 90s, Iron Man Iron Age, which is a mini series. At least one issue of Marvel Team Up. I think there's one or two, actually.
One or two. It's coming. Yeah, at this rate, I will have all the issues in like 10 years.
Yeah. And then even more Masters of Kung Fu.
I looked it up. Okay. I looked it up. This is the last of them.
Is it? Okay. Kind of like at some point it's like, dude, how much is this?
125 is the last issue. It unless there's like a second series somewhere. I think we've got the king size books. I think we've got the annuals. I think we've got all 125 issues. It's really not 125 issues. It's 109, but that's beside the point. We got 109 issues of the run. Dude, it's done, finished. It's there. Can we move on to something else?
Yes. Thank goodness. Good grief.
Yep.
And there are people who love this Masters of Kung Fu stuff, and good on them. Yeah, God bless you, but I'm sick of it.
Because here's the thing about Marvel Team Up, and this is what's irritating me so much, is the early stuff is there, which is kind of bad. The old stuff is there. The middle stuff that's missing, okay, like issues 35 through 80, was written by Chris Claremont, drawn by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum and John Byrne. Okay, dude, there's some good stories in there, man, and they're not coming. I mean, it's Chris Claremont, and you're not getting it. Come on.
Maybe they're getting to it now, especially now that they've freed up some space that Masters of Kung Fu's done.
Apparently, hopefully.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll pretty much wrap us up for the week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
The website is www.6monthsbehind.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at 6monthsbehind. Be on the lookout for a new What's Next very soon. Pat, before we go, do you have any wisdom to drop on us?
Never make eye contact while eating a banana.
Why not?
Think about it.
Oh, that's gross.
Peace.
Oh, Lord. We're ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
All right. You need a break.
I need to go to bed, but we'll knock it out real quick.
Okay. What do you got?
It is, hang on. It is Ed Brubaker's run on the Uncanny X-Men.
Oh, right.
Dude, where's it at? Hang on, I can't find it now. Why can I not find it? Dang it. I went through so many books that it took it out of my currently rating. No, it shouldn't have. Hang on. Fenders. There it is. Shoot. Ah, you piece of crap.
You having trouble?
No, it's one of those glitches where you click on read more in Uncanny X-Men and it throws me to other books instead of Uncanny X-Men.
My favorite is when you go to your library and you go to click on a book and all of a sudden all the books rearrange themselves.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready.
All right. Give me just a second.
Yeah, man.
I got to get this turkey out of my teeth.
Uh-huh.
Also, it was very spicy. Ooh. All right. You got the intro?
No, but I got it. I got it.
Okay. Hello again?
Yes, I got it. That's what I'm saying. I got it.
All right. Three, two, one.
Hello again. This is the What's Next podcast. I am Pat.
And I am Sean.
And this is the series where we take you into more books that you can read besides what comes out every week. And this week, we're going to look at Ed Brubaker's run on the Uncanny X-Men, which I had completely forgot about. Dude,
I had to.
Let me put it this way. I remember these X-Men books. I mean, I remember buying them and reading them, but I forgot it was Ed Brubaker that was doing it. And what happened was Marvel was having trouble with the X-Men. I'm trying to get some dates here. Back in 2003, 2004. So they thought, we'll bring back Chris Claremont, and gave him the reins of Uncanny X-Men. And dude, that was a train wreck. I mean, because what Claremont tried to do was, and what Claremont did in the early X-Men, he started the Dark Phoenix saga in issue 101 and then ran it to issue 137. And so a lot of those books were shipping every other month. So this thing took like 6 years.
Yeah.
All right. And he basically had like a 30 issue run here, and he just completely rebooted the characters, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, not at all.
It didn't. So what Marvel did was they gave Joss Whedon, the Astonishing X-Men. They gave Ed Brubaker the Uncanny X-Men, and they both did 3 or 4 year runs on it. Just amazing. I mean, dude, because Whedon left Astonishing. I think we've done an episode on that already.
We did.
He left Astonishing fairly soon, like a couple of years in, but then Grant Morrison took over.
Yeah, he only did like 10 issues, and that was it.
Yeah. But Grant Morrison took over, dude, and Grant Morrison's run was 50 or 60 issues, and it was great, man. So, anywho, Ed Brubaker, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to look into this, is Ed Brubaker took over the Uncanny X-Men, and you got Whedon and Grant Morrison over here doing their thing with Astonishing, and technically, it's back when they in the late 80s when they came up with the second X book.
Yeah,
they had a blue team and a gold team.
Yeah, it was 1991 actually.
Okay, 91. In this case, you had all the A characters over there in Astonishing X-Men. All right. And Ed Brubaker was like, well, what am I going to play with? So he took a group of characters that you wouldn't really think about. He took a depowered Charles Xavier. He took Lorna Dane, whose codename I can't remember, Havoc.
No, not Psylocke.
Polaris,
that's it. And it was a P something.
Yeah. And he took one of the Jean Grey girls. Rachel Grey. He took Rachel Grey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he takes these B characters and says, okay, what am I going to do with them? And it starts with this 5-issue miniseries called X-Men Genesis, where Brubaker does what you hate, which is rewrites history to where there's a third Summers brother. And the attempt to save the X-Men that you see in Giant Size X-Men #1 wasn't the first attempt that Charles Xavier made. It's actually the second attempt, and there was a first attempt with another group of mutants that Maria McTaggart had, and it was led by a guy named Vulcan, who was the third Summers brother. Okay, yeah. And he basically, when the island got thrown into space, is it Krakoa? Krakoa, thank you.
One of them is real and one of them is in the X-Men book, but it's Krakoa or Krakatoa. I don't remember which.
Anywho, it's thrown into space with Vulcan on it, and basically all of his powers are supercharged. Okay, and he, for all intents and purposes, becomes Superman, and just shows up and stomps the X-Men. And sets out to, he blames the Shire for all this because he blames the Shire Empire for killing his mother. So he just goes to wreak havoc at the Shire Empire, which picks up in Uncanny number 475. And this team of mutants that we just talked about is who Brubaker sends after him. And it's 12 issues, The Rise and Fall of the Shire Empire. It is classic X-Men, man. It is great. And
I actually read this probably about 6 months ago.
It's really good. It's just again, he's got the B team here. Okay, these are B list X Men. He gave all the good guys over to the Astonishing. Okay, whoever was writing it at the time, he said, "I'll take these guys. I'll take outer space," and he does this. The run continues all the way through 501 or 502. Okay, so it's a fairly long run. There's some Greg Land art that he did with it. Oh, and that's the other thing about this Rise and Fall of the Shadow Empire is Billy Tan's drawing the whole thing. So you got Brubaker writing it and Billy Tan drawing it. It looks magnificent, man. Dude, does it look good? I mean, it's really it's really good. So
yeah, I like Billy Tan. I always like when Greg Land does the X-Men. Him, Chris Bocciolo, and a couple of others are like classic X-Men artists. Yeah, and I always really enjoy their work on X-Men.
And the color on this thing is just magnificent. This run is the total package. It's writing, it's art, it's storytelling, it's all of it, man. And it's really done extremely well. But here's the thing: this Vulcan in the Shire Empire, they take the X-Men and they return them to Earth, and Brubaker eventually starts playing with the other X-Men eventually, but Vulcan becomes the emperor.
Yeah, he becomes the emperor of the Shire Empire. Yeah,
which leads to the War of the King series. Now, the War of the King series was the Inhumans and the Shi'ar and somebody else just decimating each other out in space, man.
Was it Kree and the Skrulls?
I think it was the Kree. Yeah, it was the Kree.
Yeah.
Yes, it was, because Ronan was in it. And that's how Ronan and Crystal wound up hooked up.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's how Ronan and Crystal wound up hooked up. Was I think they married them to join the two those two empires together, the Inhuman Empire and the Kree Empire.
Yeah, that's been 10 years ago since I've read that stuff, so I have a hard time remembering.
It's really good, and Brubaker lays the foundation for all of that in First X-Men Genesis. Then that 12-issue run there on Uncanny, he lays the foundation for it. It's just outstanding, man. It's really good. The Messiah Complex is thrown in there somewhere.
The Messiah Complex is my favorite aspect of his run. In fact, the Messiah Complex, in my opinion, is one of the best X-Men stories that has ever been. I mean, it's 2 or 3 slots behind Dark Phoenix somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover of one of these books. It's magnificent, man.
Yeah, in fact,
Billy Tan did it, and it's great.
I went back and read the Rise and Fall of the Shire Empire and Messiah Complex, and was getting into Divided We Stand recently, and I just I had more stuff to read than I could deal with, and it felt
but only so much we can read at one time.
Yeah, and then the Divided We Stand thing was really good too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is a great period in X-Men books, and they've kind of returned to it with help me out. X-Men Gold is kind of getting back to it. The X-Men Red book that's coming up is coming up on Unlimited is going to get back to it. But this is really classic X-Men storytelling, and it is extremely good, man. I really loved it. I really did.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And you had the new X-Men for a while, and then after the new X-Men, you had a little bit of a lull, and then this came along, and it was kind of another golden era of the X-Men, and then things kind of fell off for a little while. It felt to me like after Schism, things just weren't the same. You had it was AVX, Avengers versus X-Men, and Schism, where they split the schools up. And
yeah,
while I really enjoyed Jason Aaron on Wolverine and the X-Men, that was the whole Scott Summers really becoming evil, and X-Men wasn't X-Men for a little while.
No, it wasn't. And we can discuss whether or not, Marvel did it intentionally because they were trying to push the Inhumans and Fox had the movie rights. Who knows? But it just wasn't a good series for a while.
I mean, it's been spoken on by plenty of people. I'm pretty sure that they did not focus on the X-Men and push the Inhumans for that reason.
Yes.
And it's why they weren't, the X-Men editors essentially didn't care what was happening, and they were not putting their best foot forward. And we have seen them put their best foot forward, especially here recently. And it's good stuff, man. I mean, X-Men's better than it's been in a long time. That X-Men Blue Book's kind of mad, but even then it's not bad. We hate on it a lot, but
they're doing a slow burn with the whole Magneto thing, and it's going to get there.
Yeah,
it's going to get there.
Yeah. And it's just not our favorite thing, but X-Men Gold's great. The Phoenix Resurrection stuff's been good. X-Men is back at a good place, and if they can get to be like this Ed Brubaker run again, I'll be more than happy with it.
No doubt, man. I mean, I'm Old Man Logan's good. Yeah, I mean, they're turning out some good books.
Yeah. And Ed Brubaker has done a ton of stuff that both of us enjoy. Well, he did that Winter Soldier run and Captain America for a while, and he's got a creator-owned thing called Criminal Incorporated that's really good.
He did.
If you like noir stories, it's up your alley.
I'd forgotten he did a short run on Daredevil. I mean, if you just you go into your browse tab and sort it by creators, and you find Ed Brubaker's name, and it pulls up every book he's done, man, which is really entertaining. And dude, I really enjoyed this series. I did, because here's the honest truth. A lot of times when we do one of these What's Next, we pick a topic, read the Wikipedia page, scan the books, find out how it relates to everything else, and we really don't sit down and read 20 or 30 issues. Sometimes we do, okay? A lot of times we just kind of skim the issues, hit the high points. This was so good, I actually enjoyed rereading it again, and I'm probably going to keep reading Ed Brubaker's run. It's so good.
Yeah. Definitely dive back into that Messiah Complex stuff, because if you haven't read that recently, you forget how good it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is Ed Brubaker's run on the Uncanny X-Men, which is outstanding and well worth your time. It's 40 or 50 issues, begins in X-Men Genesis #1, which you can find, and then continues in Uncanny number 475.
Yep. And runs for, like you said, like 40 issues.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all, that wraps us up. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com.
You can hit the website at www.6monthsbehind.com, where you will find links to these books posted soon.
And please follow us on Twitter at 6monthsbehind. And please listen to our main show, 6 Months Behind. It's where we discuss all the weekly books that come out in Marvel Unlimited, so that you can keep up with what's going on in the Marvel Universe.
Yep.
At a pace of 6 months.
And you can hate on X-Men Blue and Captain Marvel and a couple other books with us.
Yeah. And also enjoy Phoenix Resurrection and Daredevil and all the other books that we're enjoying.
And X-Men Gold, which is really good. So.
And Spider-Gwen.
Yes. There's more books to enjoy than there is that we hate on.
Yeah. And all the Star Wars books, except for that DJ thing, which sucked.
That shit sucked, man.
Yeah.
That did.
Well, all right, y'all. We will see you next time.
Peace.